And welcome back, everybody, to part 2 of the Grim Gazette issue 8, because that's what everybody in chat voted for. We're calling this issue because it's a Gazette. Grim Gazette. See what we did there? That's what we're doing. All right. And how you doing? I'm T. You can call me T, T-Monster, or Twitch Dad. I represent Old Spirits Investigations. We are a new-ish group based out of Northern Virginia. We investigate the paranormal. And we've been having a good time doing it. And part of what we're doing is we are bringing you all this brand new thing called the Grim Gazette. We started this in February, and people have been really digging it. So that's what we're here for. And tonight's deep dive was suggested by Secondhand in the Discord. We have in our Discord a room called the Grim Gazette, and that's where I ask you to drop your paranormal clips, where you can drop weird news stories, things you'd like to see featured on the Grim Gazette. I do not need any more comedy clips. I've got comedy covered, not a problem. But if you have a paranormal clip that you'd like me to take a look at, if you've got a cryptid clip or a UFO clip, I would love to see it. So feel free to drop it in the Grim Gazette room of our Discord, and you can see that in chat right now under...
hello there.
Yeah, hello there. Under our links. And another thing, too, if you want to see this recorded live, it happens every Tuesday, starting at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, United States, here on Twitch. And then we replay it edited over on YouTube. Hi, everyone. We are taking a look tonight at, as requested by Secondhand, Unexplained Caught on Camera, Season 2, Episode 4, Paranormal Pub, Cursed Closet, and Alien Woods. So let's take a look at this show, Unexplained Caught on Camera. Now, here's the thing. I am not 100% sure if this is the UK version of a show that I know is over in the United States called Paranormal Caught on Camera. I'm assuming this is the, I'm assuming anyway, that this is the UK version of it. So I'm like, all right, let's go on. Let's have a closer look at this and see what they have to offer. So, yeah. I'm curious. I am very curious as to how this is going to go. Here.
All around the world, people are capturing the unexplainable on their mobile phones and security cameras. From the UK to the USA.
Just catch just a little glimpse of him, and then he'd be gone.
More unexplainable phenomena is being captured than ever before.
Oh my God! The chair flew across the floor. Oh my God! Ben, I'm getting out of here.
In this series,
already my spidey sense is tingling, because the blonde, I believe that is Lainey of Lainey and Ben, and those two are phenomenal fakers. One of the things, Cammy, you got to be careful about when you watch these shows. If the footage is too good to be true, 9 times out of 10 it is. 9 times out of 10 it is. You'd start to notice patterns in the what. Yeah, she has been debunked repeatedly. So not this woman, but if that is who I think it is, if that's the blonde that I think it is, it's Lainey of Lainey and Ben. So yeah. Anyway, let's let it play. Let's let it play. Let's see how it goes.
we will hear firsthand from the people involved.
Okay.
This black shadow with wings swooped towards me.
As we reveal the most terrifying.
It fed off my anxiety. I just couldn't fight it.
Aliens.
Remarkable.
Something's definitely crashed here. This is weird. Humans.
And unexplainable footage shot by you.
I do believe that he may have been possessed.
Whoa! Whoa! Oh,
but first, meet our experts, who will be giving their opinions on the unexplained.
I do believe that there is more to reality than
the slow motion walk.
This material world we see around us. I just don't think science and reason has all of the answers. So I think there are absolutely some things in this world that are unexplainable.
There is a viable explanation for everything. I get involved in scientific investigation of paranormal claims, but also I do go out ghost busting at the weekends.
I do go out ghost busting during the weekend. I also enjoy long walks off of the beach, and yeah, sunsets. Sunsets are always nice. Well, see, here's the thing. Okay, so first off, Unexplained Caught on Camera. Chances are, I think there is a United States version of this, and it's called Paranormal Caught on Camera. And I remember Sam and I watched it together. We watched an episode of it together, and I remember there was this wild shape, this wild saucer shape that people were they captured it on their home video of, and it was just hanging there, and it was obviously a cloud. But here was who they talked to. They talked to a paranormal investigator, they talked to a psychic, and then they talked to a ufologist. And the one person that I really wanted them to talk to, a weatherman, because I'm like, that's a cloud. It is clearly a cloud. Now, it's cool to think about, okay, this is a massive mothership of a ship just hovering silently over a city. First off, why would it do that? The second thing was that it was clearly a cloud. It had all the markings of a cloud. And the psychic and the ufologist were all saying, well, it's disguised like a cloud. And what I wanted, I would like to have had a meteorologist on there just so they could say, okay, it looks like a flying saucer, but here's what's causing this to happen. You know what I mean? And we aren't cool enough for aliens. No, I really believe aliens have probably looked at this planet and go, nope, not yet. Not yet. These guys ain't ready. They ain't ready. They just see that they elected a reality TV star as their president. I don't want to meet that guy. I really don't. Okay, let's get back to it.
Skeptic in the true sense of the word. If I can see quite blatantly it's not real, then I will definitely call it out.
Okay, and that's great. That's great. I'm all for that.
Because I've experienced them myself.
Right.
Some things are definitely unexplainable. Science has a long way to go to proving the existence of the afterlife.
Okay. See, here's where I go, right, slow your roll, pal. Slow your roll. I am more than okay with saying there's some things that science hasn't explained yet. Even my friend Pamela has said there are some things that science needs to explain. We're good with that. But and it works on both sides of the spectrum. You got skeptics who say, "Oh, this is all a bunch of hooey," and then you got folks on the pro paranormal side that are saying science needs to catch up. And I'm like, okay, look, you have to sort of find a middle ground and try to deduce, make sure everything else has been ruled out, and then you've got to try to, and this is the thing about science. And again, I can't wait to have this discussion with Pamela on Mike about this. And then you have to make it happen again. That's the thing. You got to make it happen again. And even science can get something wrong. And one of the things that we were talking about was, I remember seeing a clip of Dr. Stephen Hawking talking about how data, and that it was data, just data in general, could not exist in the event horizon of a black hole. And he was adamant about that. He wrote papers on it, all that stuff. And then he went back and looked at some of the calculations, worked with some other people on it, and he said, I could have been wrong. And that's something that is very profound and really ballsy for someone at the level that Stephen Hawking was at to say, it's okay. I could have been wrong. And so, yeah, I don't think there should be absolutes on either side. I think there just needs to be there needs to be room for not only hard facts and science, but also for the unexplained and trying to figure out, okay, why can't science explain this? What do we need to do to make it explain that? That kind of thing. But anyway,
my mum was a medium, and I've grown up with ghosts. Life goes on beyond death.
This is the woman that's got the doll. That's the woman that's got the doll from part 1.
I think there are life
How about that?
forms on other planets.
Please take a break, Ben.
Do I think there's always an answer to the unexplained? No.
Okay.
This is Unexplained, Caught on Camera.
Caught on camera. Great. And you can tell it's mysterious because one of the E's is backwards.
Coming up,
Is this where you ended your life?
an investigation into a haunted pub goes beyond a joke.
It's not a joke, ha ha ha, is it? It's a ha ha ha. It's like a horror movie laugh, isn't it?
Okay. I love this lady already. I love this lady already. I love this lady already.
A cursed closet is captured on camera.
This is not the closet that I think the tunnel girl was talking about in Northern Virginia. I'm just going to throw that out there. Okay, yeah. Then give yourself a break. Give yourself a break, Panic, okay? You have done a yeoman's job. And hey, how you doing there, John? How you doing, John? Good to see you. We're watching Unexplained, Caught on Camera, by request. So let's see that's what we're watching, and I believe we're going to be watching a segment about a haunted pub. So it should be fun.
Something tries to share the limelight with a young dancer.
It touched my face.
Okay, is she a young dancer, or was she doing something on the tickety talks? Was she doing something for the tickety talks? I'm just curious.
Arm, and then like my leg.
There is only one explanation: spirits.
And one man's walk in the woods
Something's definitely crashed here. Look at this.
takes an extraordinary turn.
Massive gap in the woods. Aliens. Could have stumbled into the ET crashing. Who knows?
Bless. Here's something else too. As much as, and look, I would be over the moon. Pardon the pun. I would be over the moon if something like that were to happen, you know, with an extraterrestrial being or an extraterrestrial encounter like that. But the thing is, when you're in the forest, I'm sorry, when you got that much in the forest, it could be a bunch of things. You know, like when we were looking at the possible cryptid footage, the woman swore she saw a shadow, you know, watching her from the opposite side of a creek or whatever the body of water was, but that shadow wasn't moving. She was moving, but the shadow was not. It's like, dude, you know, when you say, oh, unquestionably it's aliens, it's like, okay, I'm not saying it's aliens, but aliens. You know, I mean, humans can be, when they put their mind to it, humans can be very clever creatures. We can do very cool stuff when we want to, when we're not being dorks about it. But I am not one of these people that's going to say, oh, without question, it was this. Now, there's going to be some stuff that'd be like, we don't know. I don't know what made that, again, going back to that Gettysburg clip that I always go back to. All I can tell you is I did nothing to that audio apart from boost the sound. That's all I did to it. And it was a direct response to what I was there. It was on a brand new card. There was no artifact, and yet that was what we picked up. So, you know, but I'm not going to say, oh yeah, this definitely was aliens. Dude. So let's see how the pub goes. I just want to see how the pub experience goes. Here we go. Well, I don't know how common tornadoes are in that area, but it would be something good to know. Okay. Grantham, UK.
A pub with a dark past.
I want to die.
And an investigation that's no laughing matter. Meet paranormal investigator Rachel Parsons.
I first got into the paranormal world around about 15 years ago when I was working in a manor house, and it was my first experience of seeing a full apparition.
I could listen to that accent for days. She is such a sweetie. I like this lady already. I do. I like this lady already. Now, so here's something to know about Tibetan bowls. Something to know about Tibetan bowls, everybody. These are a product of the 70s, as in the 1970s. These are not, I love them. I think they're cool. I can fall asleep to them like that. But these things are not like part of an ancient thingamadoodle. These things were from the 70s. So, and you know, that's just if I couldn't listen to Tibetan bowls, I'm gonna have my Echo play some thunderstorms on loop, and I'm good. They are not traditional. No, they are not. They are not traditional. They were from the Wu 70s. Just saying. Okay.
And I was just absolutely amazed. I thought, I've got to find out for myself. There is something out there that is on a different dimension, but I think getting the evidence and gathering the evidence of the paranormal is the most amazing thing.
Wanting to get solid evidence of the afterlife was
traditional
what prompted
hippies
Rachel to set up her own crack team of investigators, the Retford Ghost Hunters. There are 10 in the spook-seeking squad, including trusty sidekick Peter.
I've always had feelings of paranormal activity.
And Peter, I'm going to say right now, has a magnificent mustache. Check the curls. Check the curls. He's waxing those puppies. He's looking good. I dig that mustache. Can I get some hype in chat for the mustache? That's slick, bruh. Slick. Like it.
I always felt things, but never seen one, and joined Rachel's group to see if I could see one and satisfy my curiosities.
Right, let's go for it.
She got to get a lippy on. Yeah, you're big.
I love that. Right, let's do this. And she put some lip gloss on. Let's go.
And for Pete, there's never a dull moment being part of Rachel's team.
I like to bring humour into my ghost hunting because that's me, that's who I am.
Look at these here.
I love being positive, I love being happy.
And that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be, you know? You gotta have your lippy. Is that what I love my wife so much. No, I mean, she's right, too. She's right. It doesn't... is that the Kiwi? No, she is not Kiwi. My wife is a Kiwi, but she is not Kiwi. She isn't... They're in the UK right now. And the thing is, there is something... this is probably the most woo you'll ever hear me talk about with the supernatural. Or with the paranormal. I really believe that part of what Phil and I, the reason why Phil and I always have a really solid investigation, where we always have a juicy find, whether it's an EVP or it's a really good Estes method or something like that. I really think it's because we've got the right attitude. We come in with not only respect, we not only come in with trying to understand the history of the place, we also come in with a little bit of fun. Because we enjoy it. We genuinely enjoy getting out into the field and doing this sort of stuff. And yeah, I'd probably have a great time investigating with this lady. I believe that. I totally believe that. And kicking doors. Now, I see we don't do the kicking doors, Vi. That's an Indian thing. That's an Indian thing, apparently. That's not my jam.
And I love radiating that out as well. And I think it's important when you're running a team. We joke all the time.
I can't believe it. We're in the middle of a field in an old monastery, all laughing his head off.
But you know, laughter and happiness creates energy.
Do you like jokes? Do you know what this is?
Okay, so she's in. So here's what I'm seeing. She is in a. She's in a pub. The pub looks like it's being renovated. And she's got the usual suspects. She's got an EMF reader. It looks like she's got also a spirit box connected to a speaker or she might have she might have actually gotten a portal. Now, remember, we have something like that with OSI, but it's something that Phil has built from scratch. So the difference between a portal and a spirit box, just for clarification, spirit box, you hear the or that. What's that? Oh, that was the door kick. Got it. Thank you, secondhand. Anyway. So, Bishmalia. Okay. Anyway. Is that what this is? Bishmillah. Bishmillah. Okay. I don't know what that means. I probably shouldn't say it, because if I don't know what it says, I could be saying something that invites something really bad. So anyway, but it looks like they have EMF readers. It looks like they've got the portal. So now the spirit box goes, and you hear it. You hear it cycle through all the different stations. The portal takes out the static. So all that you get are the hits that come through. And it's really a method of using filters and reverb and things like that. And that's why it sounds the way it sounds.
Super speed, ghost hunting.
Spirits and entities and things, they work from energy, and they pick up a lot of energy from our...
It's a possibility, Bewilder Beast. That's a great question. Can the video was about Arabs. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm terrible with certain cultural areas. I'm just the first one to say that. But yes, sometimes I'm sorry. It was Zipper that said it. It depends on how high you make the noise gate. If you make the noise gate low, you'll get more stuff, but you'll get also the static that comes in. And if you do it too high, you'll filter out some of the stuff. So it's finding that balance. It's finding that balance. The Arabic word Bismillah is traditionally used to begin every Muslim prayer. Okay, there you go. Thank you. Bye.
Joviality and things like that.
See, now that's a REM pod she's got there. So
If
there's
you're
that.
Headmaster, can you come and tell us off? Are you calling me a wench?
And this fun bunch loves nothing more than investigating a haunted pub.
We love pubs. Pubs are our favourite because you've got ready-made history there.
Yeah,
And
you do.
There's some quirky
You do.
things that happen in
There
pubs.
are things that happens at pubs that happens nowhere else.
Especially in England,
and there's so
that are
much
haunted.
history
And
in
why?
pubs.
Because they've been around for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Spirits can linger in these buildings because they can mean so much to them. If people have lived in a pub for a very long time, seen their lives playing out, births, deaths, lots of heightened emotion, they may find that they're more than happy to stay there in death.
I think spirits hang around pubs because it's their second home, isn't it? You know, so it's... And also, if you worked in a pub, Sorry, I've just thought I've seen something over there then. Seriously. Yeah.
Rachel's talent for spotting spooks led her to investigate one pub in particular, the Black Dog in Grantham, run by landlord Chris.
Okay.
I've been the landlord for 8
So
years now.
the Black Dog.
I think there's been a pub
I like it.
here
That's
since the
a solid
1500s in
pub
some
name right
sort.
there.
It's grade 2 listed
Like,
building.
want to go to the
It's
Black
very
Dog,
old.
pick up a pint?
It's a
Yeah,
great
right.
pub. It's
All
like,
right.
it's like a
Yeah.
village pub really
It's
in
nice.
the town centre. Friendly place, friendly atmosphere in here. You know, it's somewhere warm and inviting.
Too inviting, perhaps?
Grantham
As the spirits in this pub aren't just...
Come on, Marv. It probably has a lot of character. And I totally agree with Pip. British ghosts would hang out at local pubs. They would, without a doubt.
Just behind the bar.
When I did some research and just rang Chris and said, you know, we're doing investigations, is it possible to come to your pub?
Would that make ghosts hang around trailers and Florida ghosts? Marv, would you haunt a pub if you were a ghost? I would say Marv would haunt a football field, especially if his team wasn't performing up to snuff. I believe that. I would believe that. Probably spend more time there than anywhere. And that's the other thing too. That's another thing. It's a signature. It's a signature, right? It's a signature of you being somewhere on a regular basis all the time. I wonder if old ghosts and new ghosts have turf wars. Now that Well, that kind of is explored a little bit. That's explored in the TV show Ghosts that Pip's got me watching, and yeah, I could see that. Ghosts get the best seats for the game. Yeah, but could you imagine if a team wasn't performing well? Just some of the stuff that would happen. I mean, you know, kind of gets the brain going on that.
Chris kept me on the phone for ages, telling me all these personal stories of experiences that he'd had here himself. Well, that were it. I was hooked. So I've got to get in there.
We've had it where I've been in bed, her chair's been dragged across this wooden floor that we're sitting on now. And we've had shadows walking back and forth, glasses and bottles moving and being thrown on the floor behind the bar.
But it's not just rowdy paranormal barflies in the pub. There's also something alarming in the attic.
When we first moved into the pub, we noticed there was a third floor that we hadn't actually seen when we first came here.
Okay.
On having a look at it, it was very old, very derelict.
It's unexplained, caught on camera. And the reason, and it is on Max, Pip. This is the British version of Paranormal Caught on Camera. And I'm a little standoffish with it because I think I saw Lainey from Lainey and Ben show up in the opening credits. So just throwing it out there, Twitch Mom, throwing it out there. How do you not know you had a third floor? Yeah, well, it could be access. It could have meant that he didn't think that they had access. He could have thought it was also just a simple. It depends on. I can only assume. It depends on how, even if he had access. That'd be my guess anyway. Oh, you went back. It was her. Okay, good to know, Cammie. Good to know. Yeah. Am I the only one who watched Doctor Who? It's bigger on the inside. Yeah.
Every single night we'd hear footsteps up there. Door.
So what it looks like is they found they had a third floor and they said, "Hey, let's renovate it." And one of the common things that you find out when you're getting into the paranormal is whenever renovations are involved, that's when stuff gets kicked up. That's when stuff gets kicked up and a lot of activity starts to happen. Well, I knew that was the lady that bought the doll, so yeah, I was on that.
Doors opening and shutting. Also dragging noises as well, like something was being dragged across the attic. One of the worst things we used to have is a real rotten meat smell. It smelled like rotten flesh, and then as quickly as it came, it would be gone again. I'd go up and have a look. There was nothing there. I've never been one to be scared by ghosts or anything like that, or even really believe in them, you know, till we moved here. But there's a number of things that have happened here that you just can't explain away.
But luckily for Chris,
Hey up. Hello. Hiya.
Rachel and her A-team were all over it.
Bless.
I was feeling optimistic about what we was going to capture.
Oh, don't like it, you pig.
Instantly felt.
So the first thing I'm a little just kind of prickly about is why are we looking at this as if it was filmed on somebody's phone? If these guys want to get into the paranormal, they need to have their gear set. Even Phil and I had better cameras setting in than coming in filming for Tickety Talks. So yeah. The thing that I tell everybody when you're starting off, if you want to get into paranormal investigation, you want to have a good camera, you want to have a good audio recorder. Period. That's where you start with your ghost gear. A good camera and a good recorder. Otherwise, you're not recording anything. And if you want to go in completely armed to the teeth on the beginner's level, good camera, good recorder, and then incorporate your phone, but use something like GhostTube or GhostTube Seer or something like that. I can definitely vouch for the GhostTube stuff because, yeah, they do good stuff. They do good stuff. Anyway. Let me just get back to this. All right.
I always call it a porridge feeling. It's almost like you're walking through porridge, and the minute I walked into that room, I just knew. I knew that something was.
Now, I don't know if you're being I don't know if you're being facetious or you're just pulling my leg or what have you. But here's the thing about that type of gear. When you're starting off, and I do stress that, when you're starting off, and I take this very seriously because when I went on my first ghost hunt, I said, I remember going to Pip and saying, well, I've got a good recorder and I found a decent camera. At least I thought at that time was decent. And I said, but could I get one weird device, one like dedicated gear? And she was like, yeah, sure. You know, keep it within reason. And I was unemployed at the time too. And I asked her, well, this is a $200 piece of kit. What do you think? And she said, no, I like that one. Let's go with that one. And that was the Flux 2. It was Simon. And you know, there are a lot of wild gadgets. There are a lot of wild gadgets on Ghost Stop. There are a lot of wild gadgets all over the interwebs if you go searching out for different people that are creating paranormal gear. But you want to be smart with your cash. You definitely want to be smart with your cash. Would a story about a paranormal investigator haunted by a ghost of a ghost hunter be weird? It would be meta. It would be absolutely meta. And yeah, I've been toying around with that. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, let's jump back into this. Here we go.
Is there?
Later, things take a deadly serious turn.
All right, here we go.
I want to die.
And it's no joke when their team spirit is tested.
Who is it in here?
Okay, so what it looks like... Oh, you know what it is?
My name is Matt Windsor, and I'm 35 from Bude in Cornwall.
Wait a minute.
Cornwall is steeped in history.
Have we...
lots of ruined buildings, and there's history around every corner.
Wait a second.
Every corner.
Hold on. Is this... Okay. Is this the dude with the closet? I think this is the dude with the closet.
Kids denied peeking into the closet.
Yeah, this is about... No, I don't want to jump into the closet just yet. I want to focus on the pub. I want to draw my conclusions about this show based on the pub, not on the closet. And I really have no... Oh, here we go. Whoa, wait. All right, here we go. Not a big fan of that in shows when they jump around like that. I'm like, stay on one case and then move on to the next case. All right, here we go. Okay, here we go. Yeah.
Fellow ghost hunter Pete were in pursuit of paranormal activity in the Black Dog Pub. The pub's played host to all kinds of haunted happenings, but it's the noises in the attic that the landlord Chris has always feared the most.
See, one of the things that I tend to get a little, again, and Pip can attest to this as well because she's heard me whinge about it, is one of the problems that I have with a lot of these shows is they will do that. They will basically try to keep remember, the people that put these shows together, their job is not to necessarily do a full-on paranormal investigation. Their job is to keep you engaged. And so they're going to be like, well, we'll start off with the story in the pub, but then we're going to switch it up. And then we'll come back to the pub later. So if you want to see the rest of the pub story, you got to track through the entire show. And then you'll hear about the other two. And then we're going to go back to the pub, and then we're going to go back to the closet, and then we're going to go back to the guy who thinks that there's an alien that crashed in the forest in the back of his house. And to me, that I'm like, yeah, that's a little unsettling because I'd like to be able to track with one story, then move on to the next story, then move on to the next story. That's the way I prefer to do it. The other thing is that when you see a lot of the shows, there is some paranormal investigation, but not enough. It's not like what you would see if you're watching Paranormal Quest or Amy's Crypt, where you have a solid, or even Ghost Hunters or Project Fear. It is a solid hour of an investigation, a solid chunk, versus here where it's like yeah, we've seen a lady in white, and we've had glasses break, we have had this, we've had that, and they do reenactments, but nobody's caught a damn thing on camera. And for me, it's all about, well, what did you catch? Because you don't know, especially if you've been into a pub that's busy, you don't know if somebody set a glass there and it was just on the edge. You don't know if somebody left quickly chugged a pint that you had just poured. They chugged a pint and then they ran off. You don't know unless you catch it on camera. And for people to just automatically jump to the conclusion, oh, we're haunted. It's like, well, were you alone in the pub? Are you sure you were alone in the pub? That kind of thing. It's one of the things that I think is the most dangerous thing about what Project Fear is doing now. At one time, when they were with the Discovery Channel, they would have a crew that would go out, inspect a place, make sure that it was clear, make sure that nobody else was there. And then they knew, okay, we can investigate this place. They don't have that luxury anymore. Now it's, well, we're going to go to this place and we're going to hope there's nobody squatting here or here that shouldn't be here or whatever. And one of the scariest things with Project Fear that they encountered at a space was when they were at this facility, and they were there, I think, during the winter, and they were in the maintenance tunnels, and they came across what looked like a place where somebody was squatting. And it wasn't like something that had been left behind. There, a lot of the stuff that they, in the buildings that they tend to visit, there's stuff left behind. But this was like, a toothbrush, dentures. I mean, somebody was living down there. And I'm like, yeah, you guys need to get out of there like fast. That scared me more than any other thing that they picked up there. So yeah. What do we got here? The T-Rex wasn't heavy stepping. It was some guy with a guitar string. You finally get engaged in a bit they're selling, and they switch it up to somewhere else. Oh, yeah. Okay. I think I got caught up with everybody. All right, great. Let's get back to this. Let's see what happens.
First moved in, we'd noticed that some work had started to be done in it, but it had stopped for some reason.
See, again, oh, well, now you found it in mid-renovation.
We were told that people had refused to work up there.
Ah.
The joiner, he down tools. He was having things thrown at him, seeing things and everything, so he went.
I looked into it myself to try and see what it could possibly be to help me to try and process what was going on. And that was when I found that a guy had hung himself up there.
Oh, you found out a guy killed himself.
The minute I walked into that room, I just knew. I knew that something was there. It felt very, very dark. And I don't mean the light.
First on Rachel's agenda was getting her team focused on the job at hand.
Okay, now that's pretty impressive. Even though those two K2 meters are close to each other, that's pretty impressive that they're in the middle of the room. Obviously, there's no power up there, and yet they're picking that up. Now, it could be faulty wiring. It could be. It depends on what kind of readings they got. If they had a sweep in there, if they did a sweep.
Okay, we're all united. If we all imagine your feet and your energy is going down through the Earth's crust, down to the core of the Earth, and get that ball of light, that heat, that energy from the ball, the Earth's crust. I can't speak from the core.
What is she? I'm trying to figure out what she's doing.
It wasn't the smoothest of starts.
Oh, I guess they were reaching out to the other side. That's one way of doing it. More power to you if that's what. And I do dig the green sneakers, green trainers. Yeah, those are nice. I dig those. Okay.
But Rachel wasted no time in trying to communicate.
We brought an EVP recorder, which
Just call it an audio recorder, please. It's just an audio recorder. It's just an audio recorder.
records any voice.
Half the time you can't understand it, can you? But then you get a right word out.
And it will
Now, I will say that's
pick up
interesting.
the slightest noise.
That's going mad.
That's interesting. The fact that
Yeah.
now, what I also think is interesting too is that if you take a look at the other two, now the things that you saw floating up, dust. Anyway,
Rachel wasted no time in trying to communicate.
so there's going to be a clip coming up where you see two women with K2 meters. One's got hers close to the wall where you would expect to find wiring, and then you've got the lady up closer, and she's got her K2. Now this is I want to see if I can't get this pause.
Brought an EVP recorder, which records any voice.
It's just a regular audio recorder.
Half the time you can't understand it, can you? But then you get a right word out.
And it will pick up the slightest noise.
That's going mad.
There it is. So this is interesting. Lady in the back, if you look at the clip in the back, she's not getting much of anything on hers. This lady right here, it's spiking up to the yellow and kind of straying over into the orange. That's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. I'll play it. I'll let it play this time. She's probably going to mention the EVP recorder. I'm prepared for it now.
Any voice.
Half the time you can't understand it, can you? But then you get a right word out.
And it will pick up the slightest noise.
That's going mad.
What, the EMF?
Yeah.
EMF meters to see, the electric
That's
field.
interesting.
Going right up to red, Rachel.
Is that you that's affecting Debbie?
I talk to a spirit.
Oh, now the one in the back is doing
as
it.
if I'm talking to anybody.
Is this where you ended your life? I want a yes or a no.
So now I realize what it is. Okay, so she's got an iPad of some either an iPad or some type of tablet, and she's got it plugged into a speaker, and she's using the iPad as a radio, basically, as a spirit box. So here are my thoughts about apps. There are some apps that people swear by, and there are some apps that they have a questionable background. Now, me personally, when it comes to apps, I try to be I'm very cautious of apps. That being said, I've reviewed and I've worked with I reviewed and worked with the products from GhostTube. I love GhostTube Vanilla. I love GhostTube Seer, which is the one that uses AI to create images instead of using the word bank normally. GhostTube Vox and GhostTube SLS, I'm not as keen on. And the thing I don't like about the Spirit Talker, which is one that I've heard used often, I don't particularly care for that one because it feels like that the words in there tend to lean to the more dramatic and the more melodramatic. And I may break down and actually give the Spirit Talker a test spin just to see what it does. And but you have to. I say go in with a grain of salt. The thing I like about GhostTube is that GhostTube, and as Aurelia can attest, GhostTube and GhostTube Seer are both developed by people in the paranormal. Amy and Jared of Amy's Crypt, they developed those pieces of software, and I personally refer to it. So this app, I don't know what she's using, but I think sometimes when you cut corners and you use apps instead of actual like spirit boxes and things like that, I think that does make a difference. I think you really should be using a spirit box, not necessarily an app for that. See, that right there is a little too clear. That just almost seems like too good to be true for a hit. Yeah, sus, exactly.
Is this where you ended your life? I want a yes or a no. with that.
It came through, they made me hang myself. Clear as day.
And yeah, see again, which is why too when you get these apps and you don't know who's making these apps, that's real. That's the kind of evidence that you cross your fingers that you get. Perfect example. When Phil was under at the Bird Theater, if you remember when I reviewed that Estes session here on my Thursday nights, we asked him, "Did you see anything?" And he said, "Gone with the Wind." And we said, "Did you like the movie?" He went, "So-so." That type of back and forth is astounding. But there really was no full sentence there, right? And in the entirety of that Estes method, I don't know if he would, if we did get sentences, 4 words tops. But I was told to hang myself. Like, wait a minute. It's just, I'm thinking this might be an app issue. Just saying.
I was told.
And again, I understand why ghost hunters do that. They're trying to be economical. They're trying to be economical, but you get what you pay for.
Wow. Did that really just happen?
I really wanted to because I like this lady.
The spirit actually says, "I want to die," which makes you wonder whether he was being taunted, which is quite sad.
Can you tell us who you are?
The spirit wouldn't reveal his identity, but no one could have predicted what came next.
That was a laugh. Okay, no, I don't know.
I was already dead. Oh my god, I feel like something's just like grabbed my waist.
Is it friendly? Is it demonic? Is it...
Okay. That's where he lost me. That's where he lost me. Is it demonic? Jeez. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Poltergeist?
I still love his mustache, though. I love that mustache.
Does it want to harm us? Does it just want to get in touch with us? So all these emotions and thoughts go through your mind within a split second.
Who is it in here?
I mean, it'd be really cool. It'd be really cool if that was if that was. I mean, we've had, look, I'm the first one to say, the reason I don't want to dismiss this laugh straight away, the reason why I don't want to dismiss this laugh straight away is because we've gotten some weird things on our STs as well. But we were using spirit boxes. They're using an app. And again, I go back to Amy's Crypt and I go back to GhostTube and their devices because they use them in the field. And we've gotten full sentences on GhostTube as well. But there are just too many apps of dubious or questionable nature. And I have my own theories too about demons as well. We actually talked about it. We did a 5 Minute Paranormal, Phil and I, about demons and when is a demon not a demon. One of the things that I feel like is that they're not going to necessarily announce their presence. They're either going to show up and they're going to if they're going to do anything, they're going to pretend to be something that they're not. They're going when Zach Baggins isn't around. Oh yeah, I mean if Zach Baggins show up, they're I'm sure it's more like,
oh crap. Hey guys, it's Baggins. He's back. Okay. Have you guys been watching Shogun? That's really, you know what? let's just these guys just, stumble around. I just started going in the next room and watch Shogun. Huh? You good? You good? Huh? Good? Yeah? Okay, cool.
I mean, that gives me demons in my belly. That's a different demon altogether. That's what hurts the Bagginses. But as far as and look, I'm not going to say this lady is trying to fake it. I want to make sure that's clear. I am not saying this lady's faking it. What I am saying is, I would prefer, personal preference, she should get off the apps, get a solid spirit box. If not the SB7 from GhostTube, get the SB11. That's the one that I recently that I reviewed and that I use in the field, and I absolutely love it. But I'm just not a fan of the apps. I'm just not a fan of the apps. And the other thing I was going to say though about demons is they're not. I don't think. If anything, I don't think the closest I feel like Phil and I have ever come to demons was when we were in the woods near the TWA crash. There was something there that was sinister. There was something there that was not welcoming, and we heard a lot of wild voices. And one of the voices was, we were hearing children's voices, and I would say something like that, but I would never. The only time I think I would use the D word is if something really went after me. Now, something did go after me in Charleston, and I talk about it. We go into it, and I don't even think that was demonic. But did I think it was malevolent? Did I think it was sinister? Did I think it wanted to did I think it wanted to hurt me? I don't know if it wanted to hurt me, but it wanted to make sure it knew that it was boss. And like I said, you'll see that in the Charleston investigation. You'll see it in the Charleston investigation. But as far as, and that's the worst it's ever gotten for me. As far as what was out there at TWA, yeah, it was bad. It was bad. Do I think it was demonic? No, but I definitely thought it was not friendly. And again, these apps, they love to promote. When they promote it, they're like, oh, this is for entertainment value. And whenever they say entertainment value, it's like, And again, I just know that I've seen people use Spirit Talker over GhostTube. GhostTube tends to have, they sometimes will say things that'll make you go, hang. But then Spirit Talker, it's like everything is ramped up to that level. First words out of Spirit Talker, demon. I'm like, okay, whoa. And it wasn't like it was like just one show. It was like multiple shows. And I was like, okay, at that point, I'd be like, And and the other thing too about these apps, and it's not just GhostTube, it's all the apps out there, Necrophonic, Spirit Talker, all of these apps. There is, and even the physical devices, the stuff from GhostTube, the stuff from Paratech. There is an amount of faith that you as the paranormal investigator has to put into this gear and say, I do believe it's working, and I believe it's working correctly. And if you can do that, mazel tov, you're good. That's half the battle right there. And that, I think, is why I tend to gravitate, again, as I said earlier, I gravitate towards the GhostTube stuff because Amy and Jared use that. They actively use that. Other people use it. And because of that, hey, buddy. And because of that, I trust what they're putting out there. Okay. No. You almost did it again. You okay, buddy? All right. Yeah, down you go. All right. So yeah, there's a level of trust that you have to have in the developers that they're not going to give you something that is going to give you what you want. It's not about what you want, it's about what's there. You know what I mean? So let's see how this wraps up.
I think it was a sarcastic laugh. It's not a joke, ha ha ha, is it? It's a ha ha ha.
The laughter that we heard coming through that spirit box, that was creepy. A real ha 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 ha. Creepy.
I've used lots of these kind of apps before. I use spirit boxes, all in an attempt to hear spirit voices.
Okay, good night.
I
Good night,
have
Zipper.
never heard that kind of creepy laughter, and Rachel gets that come through not once but twice.
It's clear what's coming through, but it's not clear that it's a spirit voice. You're always concerned about voices from other devices outside of the building, walkie-talkie, CB, radio, any of these actually contaminating the audio footage that you're capturing.
I believe that this...
And that guy's got a point. That guy's got a very solid point. You want to make sure that in fact, I know that on Beardo Gets Scared, on Beardo's channel, he was talking about an investigation. I think he was doing at the... Oh, crud. I'm blanking on the name. It's the old tavern. It's got a lot of paranormal juju about it. And I'm blanking on its name. I know I want to give it a shot if I ever get the chance to do it. But... But he even said, yeah, there was some stuff that we were picking up. I think it's a good share. I think it's a good share secondhand. Yeah, absolutely. I just, my biggest criticism about this particular team is, yeah, I get it. You're trying to keep the overhead down. Don't use apps for this sort of thing. I would tell this team, for what it's worth, invest in the gear. Invest in the gear that
Spirit in there.
Invest in the gear,
He wanted
not
people
necessarily
to know
apps.
what he'd done. He wasn't hiding it. He wanted to be seen.
But I
and he
think this
wanted
lady's
to be
delightful.
heard.
Please,
Later,
absolutely delightful.
Rachel and her team are served another round of eerie activity.
That would be the other thing I would tell them to ditch, because I'm on Phil about this 24/7. I am not a fan of SLS. Me and Jack Osborne, we share that in common. We hate the freaking SLS.
And they revisit the pub, determined to get some answers.
Why do you choose to stay in this room? That's all I want to know, Lord.
Man, Beardo's the one
Black
doing the
Dog.
scaring. Something tells me Beardo is one of those guys you want to have in your corner. I love me some Beardo, and I've already said to him in the comments of his videos, I've said, dude, if you ever come out to the United States, let me take you to Gettysburg, man. I want to be your host in Gettysburg. I want to take you around there. So we're jumping around again. So we're just tracking with the pub. We're just tracking with the pub. So yeah, but that would be my first thing to this team. Ditch the SLS and try some other try some practical gear. Try a proper spirit box. Try that SB11. That would be my 2 cents on that. Okay, let's get back to.
I'm gonna park with Quinn.
All right, here we go.
Back at the Black Dog.
Back at the Black Dog
Is that
pub.
you that's affecting Debbie?
So that I think is interesting though. That's really interesting with the whole they're picking up either A, the wiring is for absolute crap in this building, or B, they've got something happening there with the K2s.
Team have picked up a presence with a sinister sense of humor.
But this is why when you're doing these types of investigations, it's important to always say, can we come in for a preliminary? Because with the preliminary, what you're doing is you're just getting a vibe for the place. You're checking You're checking things out. You're making sure that there's nothing funky with said wiring, that everything is copacetic there, right? And then when you actually go to the location and you're ready to investigate, you know where to hit and where to concentrate on. Let's see. Crystal. You're talking about protections. You're talking about doing protections. So here's the thing about protections. We actually, we did a 5 Minute Paranormal on it. Matter of fact, if we do the house, if we do this person's house, we're probably going to bring Jada to come in and do some type of cleansing or exercising. And she's a spirit. She is a spirit worker, and I'd want to get her rates and say, okay, this is how much she charges for this. I'm going to make the suggestion. If we prove that there's something there, gonna bring in Jada and make stuff happen. Now, when it comes to personal cleansing, and making sure that everything is good. All right. First off, have a cat. Always have a cat at the ready. No. But like, for one thing, when you get to your house, or even before you leave the space, it's never a bad idea to have Palo Alto wood. Now we use Palo Alto wood because of Tina and her Colombian her Colombian background. And along with Palo Alto, if we feel like there's something off in the house, we will take a bundle of sage, light it, open the windows, and just say, okay, you know what, you need to leave, you need to move on. But we are cautious about that. Another thing that we do, and it's a personal ritual, because Pip had I know Pip doesn't mind me telling this story out of turn, but there was a time where we were going to do some investigating, some casual investigating, and it turns out we didn't have sage or anything with us, but we were like, we'll be fine, we'll cleanse when we get home, it'll be fine. And where we were had a pretty dark history. It had a history of an insurrection. Like an actual white supremacist uprising. And Pip had this very vivid dream, which she hadn't had in a long time, about her Aunt Ruth. And she clearly heard Aunt Ruth say to her, do not open doors that you aren't sure how to close. And everyone that smiles at you isn't someone to trust. And then she woke up. It was like boom, and Pip was wide awake. Pip doesn't have dreams like that, but she did, and she woke me up and said, "We're not investigating. We are not investigating tonight." And so, whenever we go to different places, we have a brooch that Aunt Ruth gave Pip. And, we always open and close the door, and we, and since then, that's what we call it. We call it closing the door. We basically put our hand on the brooch. We say, "Thank you, Aunt Ruth. We're closing the door." And we do that as part of our ritual. There's another thing too, where you have to also kind of lay down the groundwork. You have to basically say to whatever is there, you are more than welcome to move on. You are more than welcome to stay here, but do not follow us home. You are not allowed to follow us out of here. And oh yeah. We do secondhand. Absolutely, we do. But the thing is that you need to also, when you're protecting yourself, you need to make it clear that we are not welcoming you to come with us. We are not inviting anybody to come here that we don't want to come here. And that is something I think a lot of people tend to not do. And, even Amy Bruni from Kindred Spirits joked about it. She said something followed her all the way from Texas, and she said, yeah, I got to wonder, like, did you follow me on the plane? Did you sit next to me? Did you have to pay for a ticket? Were you an extra carry-on? I mean, she was very funny about it. But you do have to be careful about that sort of thing, and you do have to make sure that you also believe in what you're doing to prevent anything from coming in that you don't want to have come in. If the belief isn't there, nothing. It's all show. It's all show. So, and yes, I know it's all show, buddy. You're right. So that's one thing I would say about it. And you just have to be careful when you're going to these places what you're getting into and what you're dealing with. And I think the little precautions that you take, they all matter. I mean, you'll notice on Project Fear, I think both Tanner and Alex wear crosses. For me, I just don't have a cross. I'm Christian, but I have never felt comfortable wearing a cross. And I think it's because I regard the cross itself in such reverence that I'm just like, I don't feel good about wearing it. You know what I mean? But I do have something that the orderly, it was an odd little token, but it resonated with me. It was something that the male nurse gave everybody in my family. It was a little test tube, and it was a test tube of my dad's EKG the day he died. And, you know, he said, you know, if you want this just as something to remember him by, here you go. And and I take that test tube with the EKG in there of my dad. I take it with me on every hunt. It's in my bag. It comes with me, and I feel like my dad's with me. So yeah, I mean, if you don't feel it, it's all show. Does that help at all, Lizard, Ketro? Does that make sense? Anyway, okay, let's see if we can wrap this up. See, I feel like that's the app. That's the problem. I just feel like that's the app. Hey, buddy.
It's like a horror movie laugh, isn't it?
After some shocking confessions
it's like a horror
about
movie,
the
isn't
cause of
it?
its demise.
It's a bit freaky.
I was told to hang myself.
The final scene of the horror movie played out.
We've got an SLS camera, which is built up to pick up human form. So if you're shining that in a room where there is nobody in there,
hang on,
it picks up a moving figure. An SLS camera.
So this is a homemade SLS. And if you take a closer look at it, you can see that's an Xbox Kinect. And that's why I'm not the biggest fan of the SLS camera. I mean, the SLS, the Kinect barely worked for Xbox. I am not thinking it's going to really help us out much in the paranormal. I'm just saying.
Which is built up to pick up human form.
This was a very good find, though. Thank you very much,
though,
This has been a good deep dive.
Picks up a moving figure.
Don't worry, everybody. I'm sure I will show you another when the sausage is made kind of thing another time. But for now, this is working great.
That's paranormal.
Oh my God.
What's the matter?
It's not on the ceiling.
You've got an SLS on the ceiling.
Yeah.
That's where a man hung himself.
That's where, yeah.
You are kidding me. We've got the spirit of the man who hung himself. It's obvious. This is amazing.
See, I know people who would say, oh, that was orbs. No, that's dust. That's dust. Dust can kick up in ways. Now, if the dust is giving off its own light, that's a different thing altogether.
Guys, this is absolutely fantastic evidence.
It's intriguing data. It's intriguing data.
It sets in then what pain this man must have been going through, and then your emotions start to kick in.
Now, I will say, what is intriguing about it is he said that he was picking it up coming from the ceiling. And if it's coming up from the ceiling where and they're saying that, if they're saying he hung himself, again, intriguing, but is that evidence? I'm not the biggest fan of the SLS. I'm just not.
It's like his legs are dangling on here as well.
You could see on the screen, you could see literally just a figure dangling. It was awful.
Rachel and Pete still have unanswered questions about the man they believe they made contact with.
Right, we're going to go in here.
So they're back.
I like their cruise
for
shirts.
last call.
That's pretty
I think
slick.
he was in here and then still be here.
Yeah, and still be hanging around.
Still be.
Sorry.
I believe that the spirit that is in the attic is stuck there. I believe that he's not moved on. Listen, sweetheart.
Ah.
We don't want...
Now, we found out something interesting about cat balls. So, I don't know what the make and model is of that particular cat ball. The one that we use is strictly movement-based. But there are some cat balls, apparently, that have timers in them. And they will go off. Pip actually tested this theory because after hearing a team from New Zealand say, yeah, we don't use cat balls because of that reason. But Pip went on ahead and turned on our cat balls and just set them down and then left them alone. And it was like a 4-hour period and they never went off. Versus these type of, let me rephrase that. This could be one of those cat balls because this looks like an entirely different style. It looks clouded as opposed to the one that we use, which is clear. And if these are the cat balls that the folks from New Zealand were talking about, they apparently go off every 30 to 45 minutes. So that's something you need to be careful about is when you're looking for cat balls, look for the ones that are clear and are triggered solely by movement. All right.
We want you to be like this. We want you to move on. Feeling it now, Pete. Almost like an anxiety
It actually
feeling,
says Xbox
do you know what I
360.
mean?
Bless them.
No, it's Tuesday today. Did you die in this room?
Yeah, they're using an
Supernatural
app.
cause. Okay. Am I talking to the same gentleman that took his life? Says suffocate.
Suffocate.
Says suffocate.
On the Alice box.
You would have suffocated, wouldn't you? Can you tell me anything else?
No, I was told to.
Who told you to? Because you said last time they made me do it. So what do you mean? Who did? Several. I think the whole investigation in that room was all just like, wow, wow, wow. Shocking. We just didn't expect to get any of that at all.
They believe they've made contact with the same spirit, and they want to see if the SLS machine can pick him up once again.
Right, I think we've got the image back again now, Rachel. He's just come back onto the ceiling again.
You are kidding me?
No. This is the image that we got before on the ceiling.
Is it there again?
Yeah, same figure.
Wow.
That we got before.
Well, if that's not evidence, I don't know what is.
Same position.
Come to me. Did you hear that? It said, come to me.
Right. I've never heard anything or seen anything to that extent before in my life.
Why do you choose to stay in this room? That's all I...
See, one of the things I would say about the Kinect and the SLS camera is he says, yeah, I can see it. I can see it again. And she says, well, if I don't know what's evidence, I don't know what is. It's like, well, wait a minute. Did we have? Because the first thing I would say is, well,
I think the whole investigation.
Show me on the camera. Show me on the camera where you're pointing.
Shocking. We just
I'd
didn't
like
expect
to see
get any of that at all.
if it's reacting to
They
the pattern
believe
of the
they've made contact with the same
if
spirit,
there's something in the ceiling,
and they want to
or
see if the
something,
SLS machine
anything
can pick him up once again.
that could make these angles happen. Because he's picking it up. But you see, this is a flaw in how they're building the narrative and telling the story in this television show. He sees the same shape, right? He sees the same shape again. It's a repeat of what happened here. But we don't have any kind of camera angle on what he's pointing at. We are only going with what's seen here. And I think that's problematic. Again, just one investigator's opinion. Rule everything else out before you start saying, if this isn't evidence, I don't know what is.
Come back onto the ceiling again.
You are kidding me?
No. This is the image that we got before on the ceiling.
Is it there again?
Yeah, same figure.
Wow.
That we got before.
Well, if that's not evidence, I don't know what is.
Same position.
Come to me.
And if you're curious as to what I was looking at here, see, there are, if you do a search on your phone for Spirit Box, you're gonna find and the one that they're using is called Ghost Voice Box. What will you? And it says Ghost Voice Box. What will you hear? And it has got 3 out of 5 stars, 104 reviews, ages 9 and up. And yeah. It's just and there's in-app purchases. But that's the one that they're using. There are just so many of these apps out there, and you've got to be very careful. Very careful.
Did you hear that? It said, come to me.
Right. I've never heard anything or seen anything to that extent before in my life.
Why do you choose to stay in this room? That's all I want to know, love. Why do you choose to stay in here? Something ground.
Gone.
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 Wow.
It's unexplained.
Now that's another thing that's interesting. If the image just disappears like that, then yeah, again.
Why the spirit haunts the attic.
Absolutely great evidence there.
Thank you very much, Spirit.
But one thing is certain, the investigation will go down in Retford ghost hunting history.
It is unexplained. It is paranormal.
Oh my God.
I don't care what anybody thinks. You can call me crazy, you can call me kooky, you can do what you want. I know what happened, and I have no explanation for it, other than it was a spirit, an afterlife. You just come back onto the ceiling again.
You are kidding me.
No.
The consistency I find interesting. I will say that. I do find that very interesting. It's just I would like to have seen what he was looking at, just on the off chance that there was something that was making the SLS, because that was the thing. The SLS is designed to find. It's designed to find outlines and things like that. The other thing too. Yeah, I think spirit boxes are cool. I think spirit boxes are great. But I also put a lot of faith too in other devices. You know, stuff about EMF. I'd like to find out more about what kind of EMF they were picking up. I'd also like to know, did you get any EVPs? It's something that I've noticed in a lot of the offerings that you see pop up on YouTube. The the EVPs are. I kind of wish that people would work a little harder to see if they could pull out an EVP. But then again, that's the thing about the paranormal and the paranormal field. There are no right or wrongs. There are just opinions. And there are, and everybody, everybody works under different circumstances and excel and really do well under different with a combination of different devices. I mean, I'll give you a little spoiler for what's coming with the Bird Theater investigation. One of the things that we picked up 2 names during our portal session. We picked up 2 names that popped up: Eddie and Robert. And the significance of those 2 names, they may seem very, very, very random, but Eddie Weaver was the organist who played on the mighty Wurlitzer at the Bird Theater for well over 50 years. And then there's Robert. And Robert Coulter, I believe is his last name. Robert Coulter was the very first theater manager of the Bird Theater. He stayed with the Bird Theater. Thank you for the posture check. He stayed with the Bird Theater from its opening day all the way up into the 80s. And even when they forced him, a Coultergeist, I saw what you did there. I saw what you did there. But he stayed with them all the way up to the 80s. Even after they had retired him and then fired him, he still showed up for work. And it is believed that his ghost haunts the balcony. And the fact that we got Eddie and Robert, it feels like it's a flashback to the Candy Factory and the thing that we found out with Edwin. Oh. And I just think that there is, you know, don't put everything on one device. Try to use, don't throw everything into your investigation, but try to use a variety of approaches. And also that beautiful thing of confirmation. You know, have multiple recorders going. If you've got your phone going and you've got your audio recorder going and you've got a camera going, that's 3 different things. And if you catch an EVP on one, you should be able to go back and catch that EVP on other devices, because we've done it repeatedly. So yeah, it's just that's kind of the way. Well, the thing is, Ketro, is when it comes to getting the good gear, you want to work up to it. You want to save up and work up to it. I've been told that paranormal investigation is one of the fastest growing hobbies that is currently taking the United States. It is also one of the most expensive. So that is why whenever I make a purchase, I always check with my wife. And that's the other thing too that I'm trying to get better at, Lizard, is I try very hard not to call what I'm capturing evidence. I prefer to call it data. And you'll notice that I'm not saying it's evidence review night on Thursdays. It's footage review. I'm trying to get into a better habit about doing that. And on that note, I think I'm going to wrap up tonight's Grim Gazette. Thank you so much, everybody. And again, thank you, Secondhand, for the suggestion. Thank you so much for all the support you're showing, all the questions. The questions make the night go by faster. I can't believe it's nearly 10 o'clock. I thought 9:30 and I'll be done. Nope. Tonight was a big ol' juicy issue of the Grim Gazette, and I appreciate each and every one of you being here. Again, thank you so much. I will see you all next week for another issue of the Grim Gazette. Until then, the Grim Gazette. Didn't realize I was so tough to say. Until next time, everybody, stay weird.